You know, it's really striking how much the idea of wellness for executives has just exploded.
Hmm.
It's way beyond just, diet and exercise now. It feels more like this constant balancing act.
A high wire act almost.
Yeah, managing relentless stress,
Hmm?
trying to find sustainable energy, actually owning your time.
Instead of it on you, yeah.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
then showing up with real presence. It's a huge ask.
It really is. The demands are just immense. And it's not only about hitting business targets, right? It's navigating all that pressure
Yeah.
while somehow looking after yourself.
Right, in this incredibly demanding environment.
And the research increasingly shows how linked these things are.
Yeah.
You neglect one area and, well, it affects the others pretty significantly.
Which brings us to this really interesting concept we've been looking into. It's inspired by the work of Liv Transformed.
Ah, yes. They're doing some deep work in executive wellness.
They are, and their whole approach seems built on these 5 core pillars: fitness, mental resilience, nutrition, time mastery, and presence. Seems pretty solid, wouldn't you say?
It's definitely comprehensive. And when you think about the specific pressures execs face, each pillar really matters. Fitness isn't just general health.
Right.
It's about having the physical stamina for those long days, for peak thinking power.
Yeah.
If you let that slide, it can genuinely impact strategic decisions.
Totally. And here's the idea that really caught my attention. What if that whole philosophy, those 5 pillars, what if they could actually talk back to you?
Talk back. Like a companion.
Yeah. Imagine a wellness guide that's not just words on a page or, a silent app, but an actual voice, offering guidance, support.
Okay, that is compelling. It shifts things, doesn't it? From just a passive tool to maybe an active partner in managing yourself.
Right. So let me introduce this idea of Liv. Now, just to be clear up front, you can't download Liv right now.
Okay.
What we're exploring here is a conceptual AI voice assistant. Think of it as an imagined voice that brings the Liv Transformed principles to life.
So embodying those 5 pillars through conversation.
Exactly. It's not a real product yet, but the idea, the potential.
Well, that's what feels exciting.
Got it. So the focus for our deep dive today is really to unpack this idea, this intersection of voice tech and executive wellness.
Yeah, what could it actually look like?
Right. How might it work in a leader's day-to-day? And what are the upsides, potentially, of having this kind of always-on support for personal growth?
And our thinking here is based on Liv Transform's own exploration of this concept.
Precisely. That's our source material for today.
Okay, so let's dig in. What's the fundamental problem that this idea of Liv is trying to solve for these, super busy people?
Well, the sources point to a really common struggle. Even when executives have great resources, fancy planners, good programs, even one-on-one coaching, actually sticking to those strategies consistently with everything else going on, that's tough.
The consistency piece.
Yeah, life gets in the way. Things pop up. And that dedicated time for, say, self-reflection, often the first thing to go. So keeping momentum long-term is a real challenge for a lot of leaders. It's that classic knowing-doing gap, isn't it? We all know what we probably should do.
Absolutely.
But doing it day after day, that's the hard part.
Exactly. And that's where this idea of a voice assistant gets interesting, because it could offer potentially more immediate support, more personalized, more relevant to what's happening right now.
Adapting to the chaos of their schedule.
Right. Adapting to those ebbs and flows.
Okay, so let's break down those 5 pillars. How could this conceptual AI fit into each one? First up, fitness. For execs, this is more than just workouts.
Oh, absolutely. It's really about building up that sustained energy,
Right.
having the physical resilience to handle chronic stress, and recognizing how much physical well-being fuels your brain power. Feeling physically strong directly supports leadership, decision-making. Some studies even show a direct link between exercise and, better executive function.
Okay, so the sources give this fictional example, right? Adrian, a CEO in Toronto.
Yeah, I remember that one.
He finishes a tough week, maybe asks, Liv, how did I rate my energy levels for fitness this week?
And this AI could say something like, well, you noted only a few hours of high energy, and then maybe nudge him gently, perhaps revisit your fitness commitment for next week.
See, what's interesting there is how immediate that feedback is. And it's not just generic advice.
No.
It's tied directly to his self-assessment. That makes it way more personal, potentially more impactful. It prompts that accountability.
Okay, moving to mental resilience. This feels, well, absolutely critical in today's business world. So much volatility.
Oh, indispensable. Without good mental resilience, leaders are just much more prone to burnout. poor judgment under pressure,
Yeah.
less able to lead with clarity, with empathy. Studies definitely show that things like mindfulness, stress management techniques, they really can boost executive performance.
So the example here is Maya, head of people in Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
She's feeling swamped after, say, a big team restructure.
Like a high-stress situation.
She might say, Liv, I'm feeling really overwhelmed. Let's check my mental resilience strategies.
Yeah. And the AI could remind her about specific breath work she planned to use, maybe even offer to guide her through a quick reset right then and there.
That's a great illustration. It's timely, actionable support exactly when she needs it most.
Bringing those coping tools to mind just when stress hits.
Exactly. Making them accessible in the moment.
Then there's nutrition. Often feels like the easiest one to let slide when things get crazy busy.
It does, but it's so fundamental. It's the fuel for your brain, for steady energy levels. It plays a huge role in overall well-being.
And bad choices can make stress worse, right?
Definitely. Poor nutrition can just amplify fatigue, hinder performance even more.
Our examples don't go deep into nutrition prompts, but you could easily imagine it, couldn't you?
Well, for sure.
Like the AI asking about meal consistency or reminding you about the healthy snacks you prepped, kind of reinforcing those goals.
Exactly. Those little nudges could be just what someone needs to stay on track with nutrition when their schedule is packed.
Okay, time mastery. This one feels less about just scheduling and more about being intentional.
That's a good way to put it. It's about being intentional, feeling in control of time, which is, our most limited resource.
Yeah.
For executives, mastering time well means they can actually focus on the big strategic stuff, delegate properly, and importantly, carve out space for life outside work too.
Constantly feeling reactive is just draining.
Hugely draining on productivity, on well-being, everything.
So again, no specific example detailed, but you could see the AI prompting reflection, right? Like, how did you actually spend your time versus your plan? Or suggesting time blocking based on priorities they'd set.
Yeah, it turns time management from this static thing you do once, setting up a calendar, into an ongoing conversation.
A dialogue about using time aligned with your goals.
Precisely.
And the last pillar, leadership presence. This one feels maybe the most subtle. How you show up, your impact.
It is nuanced, yeah. It covers things like authenticity, emotional intelligence, how well you connect with and inspire people. Yep. A strong presence is crucial for building trust, motivating teams, driving success. It's those sometimes intangible qualities that have very real results.
Okay, and the example here is Carlos, an executive coach in Vancouver.
Right.
He uses this conceptual AI for a full weekly check-in across all 5 pillars.
Yeah, sort of a self-assessment.
Exactly. So he can reflect on his own wellness and see where he needs to focus his attention.
That's a great example of how this kind of tool could help someone be more proactive about their well-being.
Not just reacting when things go wrong.
Exactly. Actively monitoring and nurturing across all those important areas. Continuous improvement.
And it's really crucial, like the sources emphasized, to remember these are fictional scenarios.
Yeah.
Adrian, Maya, Carlos, they're illustrations.
Absolutely. They're just there to show the potential of the concept.
The potential of weaving voice tech into this very personal wellness journey.
Right. And it's not about replacing coaches or planners or anything like that.
No.
It's exploring a different way, a new channel maybe, for providing that consistent support and helping people engage more deeply with their own goals.
Okay, so let's unpack that a bit. Why voice specifically? What's the thinking behind imagining Liv as a voice assistant, not just another app?
Well, the sources flag a few key advantages. First, there's the potential for real-time interaction. Think about those moments during the day.
Yeah.
Stress spikes. You're tempted by the unhealthy snack. You feel yourself about to overcommit. A timely voice prompt right then could offer, a relevant reminder or a quick intervention that lines up with what you intended to do.
It's that nudge at just the right moment when it might actually make a difference.
Exactly. Second, voice allows for conversational guidance. It's different from just typing data or reading text.
Right, it's a dialogue.
It creates an interaction.
Yeah.
And that could help leaders stay more connected to their goals, their intentions, especially in between, say, coaching sessions or their weekly planning time.
Almost like having this, supportive background presence that knows your goals and can chime in.
Kind of like that, yeah. Offering contextually relevant support. And think how this could boost existing wellness stuff.
How so?
The sources suggest workshops could become more interactive, maybe using voice prompts. Coaching could feel more consistent with these little conversational check-ins available anytime.
Ah, so it extends the benefit of those things beyond the scheduled session.
Exactly. Reinforces them. The article actually uses this great phrase that suggests voice tech, like this concept, could be a powerful bridge between knowing and doing.
Ooh, I like that. The knowing-doing gap again.
Right. We often know what to do. We have the intention, but actually doing it consistently, that's where we stumble. This kind of AI might help close that gap.
So thinking bigger picture then, what's the ultimate vision here? It sounds like more than just a productivity hack.
Oh, much more. The sources paint a picture of self-leadership becoming more of a continuous process, like an ongoing conversation with yourself, but, helped along by technology.
Hmm. Less static planning, more dynamic living.
Exactly. It shifts the focus from just planning for change to actively living it, making those mindful choices day by day, moment by moment.
That feels like a pretty profound shift, away from just setting goals and tracking them separately.
Yeah, it suggests a future where personal purpose and professional goals become more integrated through this kind of continuous, supported dialogue. It's where, voice tech meets that personal journey of growth.
And the sources mention Liv Transformed already has tools, right? Like their executive performance planner, workshops, coaching.
They do.
So how does this conceptual voice assistant fit with what they already offer?
The thinking is that voice could be a natural next step, an extra layer maybe, designed to amplify the impact of what they already do.
So the planner gives the structure,
Right. Workshops give the knowledge, coaching gives tailored guidance.
and the AI could be that consistent reinforcement in the thick of daily life.
Exactly, making it all stick a bit better.
Okay, so wrapping this up, it's really important to stress again. Liv, this AI voice assistant we've been discussing, it's very much a concept right now.
Absolutely, a conceptual exploration.
It's a glimpse into a possible future for executive wellness, specifically looking at it through this lens of voice technology.
Precisely. It's really meant to be thought-provoking,
Mm.
sparking ideas about how we might better support leaders on their paths.
So here's the final thought I want to leave you with listening in. Imagine if you did have that kind of smart, supportive voice woven into your day, constantly reminding you of your intentions, offering timely nudges. How might that actually change your consistency, your accountability, and
Yeah.
going after your goals, personal or professional?
Yeah, it's a powerful question.
Could having that sort of voice of intention, as we could call it, really make a difference in closing that gap between knowing what you want to do and, well, actually doing it?
It's definitely something to ponder as AI evolves and as our understanding of well-being deepens.
Absolutely. And if this whole concept resonates with you, or maybe you're even working in this space, future of voice, personal development, perhaps these are ideas worth exploring a bit further.